I was a paramedic firefighter in the metro Atlanta area for the duration of the COVID-19 pandemic. And going through that experience taught me how dangerous militant stupidity is when it's activated. From the onset, I understood that it was going to be a disaster. And a lot of that boiled down to the insanity that was coming from the White House. Trump and his administration kept swinging back and forth between shutting things down and sponsoring this vaccine and getting all of this medical preparation to this isn't anything, this is fake, you should just carry on with your day and not worry about it. And this constantly diluted messaging from the administration made it so that nobody was on any ability to say what was actually happening. And only those of us that were witnessing the totality of it firsthand were understanding how deeply terrible it was. Even within the fire department, we had fire engineers, the guys that drive the fire engine, who would never get on the ambulance, and they would deny that it was happening. They'd be like, oh, this isn't shit, this isn't real, this is fake. But then I would get on the ambulance and go take patients nonstop to an emergency department that was breaking under the stress of the intake because the amount of patients that we were bringing in was catastrophic. Something you have to understand about an emergency department is that it is only able to handle so many things at once, and that's under normal conditions. You take a couple traumas, a heart attack, a stroke, whatever else, and that system is already under major stress. Add hundreds of patients suddenly flowing in on a very regular basis, and that system breaks down. But even within the hospital itself, you weren't necessarily seeing people dying directly in the emergency department. You were seeing it happen in the ICU, and that was something that I saw with my very own eyes. On a regular basis, you would go up to the ICU, and you could literally see it packed. Every single room was packed full of people on ventilators, and many of them were going to die. And it is an absolute fact that there were refrigerator trucks packed with corpses because they didn't know how to handle the amount of bodies that were coming out of the hospital. And I have so many just awful memories of that time because it was the most prolifically bleak and dark thing that I've ever experienced. And that includes my deployment to Afghanistan and every other horrible thing that I witnessed and saw during that time of 5 years of my life as a paramedic firefighter. I remember in December of 2021, after the vaccines had even been released, I was on shift on Christmas Eve, and the entire fire department was sick. I was sick, my EMT driving me was sick, and there were so many sick paramedics and firefighters that we couldn't even get replacements. I was working mandatory overtime, and we were sick, taking sick people to the hospital, and it was unreal because the system was completely breaking down. And it really pisses me off that there is this reignition now of this ire towards people like Dr. Anthony Fauci and the broader medical system at large, because people don't understand how any of this stuff works, but they have these militantly stupid opinions based in nothing, based in conjecture, misinformation, or outright bullshit. And I think that is a microcosmic example of the way that the entirety of MAGA, but also the establishment in this country and in this world, the way it works. It's all predicated on, everything is predicated on eternal consumption and growth at all costs, at the cost of human beings, at the cost of health and welfare of society. Ignore the fact that everybody is dying. Ignore the fact that millions of people are dying from a virus that you can't stop. It's a pathological fact. Ignore the fact that the planet is on fire and always getting warmer now and is becoming completely unsustainable for all life on this planet. And that's all because we have built this ecosystem of information that is predicated on misinformation and outright lies. Experts, scientists, doctors, people that have devoted their entire lives to mastering information that is highly technical and specific are no longer valued for their knowledge in those things. And what is more valued is superstition and conspiracy. And I think ultimately that is how humanity dies, is intense commitment to an incredible lie that is perpetuated so that rich people can stay rich.